Hello everyone and welcome back for yet another episode of the Off Grid podcast. It is an absolute pleasure to have you back with us today and I hope that you guys enjoy this episode. Today's guests are enjoyed by Solène Declas. Solène is the founder and CEO of AIBŌ, a social enterprise that pairs vetted university students with older people for companionship and practical help. In this conversation, we talk about living in a 3-generational home, what makes an entrepreneur's mindset, and how AIBŌ is solving the loneliness epidemic by connecting the young and old generations in society, why social media catchphrases around purpose and passion can be totally unhelpful, and the rise of social wokeness over respecting our elders. Guys, I hope you really love this podcast. This is just a sheer entrepreneurship episode about how to start your own thing, go on your own path. Solène has been doing AIBŌ for the past year, so she's at the very beginning of her phase, which made it for a really rich conversation with all the lessons that she's learned in the last nearly exactly 12 months. Hope you guys absolutely love this episode and on with the podcast. Solène, hey.
Hey.
Welcome to the Off Grid podcast.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Good to have you here.
So excited.
We have just spent about an hour and a half going through all the tech, but we are live.
We're here.
We're going to make it happen. So let's get straight into this. One thing I really want to talk about is going back to your childhood, because I feel like that does play a massive part in everything that you're doing with AIBŌ and that you've gone on to do. Can you tell me a bit about what was growing up like for you?
Yeah.
What was the family situation you were in and all of that?
Yeah. So my dad's French and my mum is half Sardinian, half Irish, but she was brought up in Manchester. And my mum and dad met at Leeds Uni. And so I grew up in Manchester, which is where they settled to start with. And I'm one of 4. I'm the eldest. We're all quite close in age. So I was like, how old am I now? I'm 25 now. My brother's 22 and my sisters are 20. So we're all quite close. So yeah, I'd say my childhood was really, really happy. A lot of like time outside. And yeah, we lived in Manchester till I was 8 and then we moved down south. And yeah, I just remember, being really happy, always playing a lot. Yeah.
Obviously, a big part of AIBŌ is that you were living with your grandparents, or at least you are at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
At what age were you when they moved in with you, and how long has that relationship been going when you've had 3 generations in the same household?
Yeah. Oh, no, it's so great. So when we moved to Manchester, my nan and granddad that now live with us at the back of the garden, they used to live in Manchester as well. I can't remember how long after we moved that they came, but it was at least, I'd say like 7 or 8 years ago. So when I was maybe like 16. So I remember having parties in the lodge that they now live in. And when they came, I was like, oh, where are my parties? But no. It's like amazing them being there. So yeah, I'd say 8, since I was about 16. Yeah.
And can you tell us a bit about AIBŌ? Like, what is it? What do you do? And how has that childhood led to you doing your business now?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So AIBŌ is a platform that connects young people aged 18 to 30 with elderly people in their local area. So it's kind of, the vision is for it to be an app where family members sign up like an elderly relative, usually like their mum or dad, who they just want, some company or maybe like shopping, driving, getting out and about, things like that. And yeah, I guess my childhood, how that has impacted it. So my dad's got his own business. So I guess I've always grown up seeing him like busy doing business stuff and like on calls. And I've always, at school, I definitely in like school projects and stuff, I like to, I don't know, I'd have an idea and like take over a bit maybe and be like, right, this is like what we're gonna do. And then I loved like taking the lead and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess that, and then I think as well in my family it's really good in the sense of I feel like we've always been encouraged to kind of there's not been too much pressure on you should be doing this or that. Like my dad wanted us all to go to uni and things like that, and I went to uni and stuff like that. But afterwards, I was very set on, I'm not just going to do a 9 to 5 for the sake of it. Like, I'd rather travel and like figure it out. And I think I've always wanted to have like my own thing. And so when the idea for AIBŌ came about, I was like, right, I'll just send it and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm super interested in that aspect in particular, that mindset of like going straight from uni, doing your own business, going traveling. That's what I did as well. Like, I was very tired of like I didn't really want to conform. I didn't want to get the grad scheme and things like that. But obviously, if you're coming straight out of uni, there'll be so many people that tell you different reasons as to why it's like the worst time to start your own business, because you're too young, you don't have the experience and all of this. I mean, what was your experience like with people around you when you first did your own thing?
Yeah, I guess I actually got a really good response from people around me when I did it. Everyone was like, wow, that's really cool, or like, oh, I've seen what you're doing. And that's really nice to get that kind of feedback from friends and family. Yeah, I'd say I never really got anyone kind of putting me off it, actually. It was maybe more my own thoughts, like, oh, what should I be doing? But I just always knew, I don't know what it was, but I just always knew that I wouldn't be happy in like a random 9 to 5 unless I knew it was something I was interested in. And I do remember as well, I got into Copenhagen Business School. I literally just randomly like applied for it when I was in Amsterdam, and I was actually in like a week cafe with my friend Julia. And she was like, oh, I was like, oh, I've got to do this application. And she was like, yeah, you can just do it in there. And I was literally there like writing. It was so bad. I've not even read it back, but it was like, it started with something cringy like, what do I want to do in life or something. But anyway, I got into that. And then when I got in, I really reflected on, am I just doing that because it's like a nice, you know, when you go to uni, like, right, I'm at uni now, so the goal is to get a good grade and then I'll figure out what next. So I was like, am I just using that to kind of fill because I don't know what I'm doing at the moment? But yeah, I'm really glad that I turned it down, because there was something in my gut saying I wanted to try this idea that I had. I also wanted to get into like film and TV at the time. So I was like, yeah, I'm glad I just listened to my gut when you don't know really what to do. So
yeah, that's super cool, because I feel like there are so many people who have a business idea. Like, everyone has a business idea at some point in their life, right? But then few people actually give it a go and sort of risk failure and putting it into reality.
Or do it, actually go. And that's what I had in my head though. It was, I don't know, it was some podcast and the guy was like, just fucking do it. And I just had that in my head, like, right, well, this is the time while I'm at home and I can afford to do that. So I was like, I've got nothing to lose.
Why do you think you did it? Because obviously, let's say, I'd say like at least 80-90% of people wouldn't go and pursue that business idea. But what do you think is about you in particular that made you think at such a young age, yeah, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to give it a good crack?
I guess I have had a few different business ideas, and this one kind of just stuck. Like, me and my dad were speaking about it, and obviously there's a big aging population, and then I was thinking about my nan and granddad and how lucky I am to have them there, but how so many people don't have that, and so many people are on their own. And then I had a remote job at the time, which was part-time, and I was kind of just doing it to fill, you know, just to get a bit of money and be able to travel. And I was like, I just really had, I don't know, I just felt like it was my time to do it while I was at home. And while I just thought this is the best time to just go for it and try it. And I didn't think of it as too big of a thing. I think people can get caught up in like, oh my God, it's like starting a business, like where would I even begin? And like, that's normal. But I just thought, right, what is the first step? And I just registered it on Companies House. Like, that literally was the first thing I did on like a random evening in September. I just, like, sometimes I'll be impulsive, and I was like, right. So I got my dad. I was like, how do I set up a company? And he was like, oh, you just go into Companies House, like do this. So I paid 50 quid, set it up, and I was like, wow, I better do something about it now, because I paid 50 quid for it.
You made that sound so simple, but obviously there's a lot going on there. Because I remember when I first started my first business, I built a website. That was my first step. I was like, okay, I need to do this. Like, it needs to become real.
Yeah.
And building the website, or for you, actually registering the company, that made it this reality.
Yes, definitely.
Also, you mentioned putting money down. There's like this psychological thing now.
Definitely.
You're actually invested into
Yeah.
this thing. Do you feel like getting yourself up to that point, it was almost like, was it harder getting yourself to that point
Yeah.
than actually just committing to it and giving it a good go?
I'd say, I think because of where I was at in like my life, because I'd done almost a year of that remote job and I was kind of just doing it while I figured it out. When this idea came, I was almost like, I've got nothing to lose at this point, and I knew I didn't want to carry on with that job. It was like working for a nanny like a nanny agency in London, so it was cool, but yeah, I kind of was just at that place where I wanted to work on something that I was passionate about, and I felt kind of that passion, I guess, when I really thought about the idea, and then I thought about how it could work, and I was like, yeah, I've just got to give it a go. So I think it was the stage of my life where I was in no rush to like just get a random job and just do it for the sake of it. And I was at home and I was like, well, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, so much of AIBŌ and what you do, like we were saying earlier, like it must give you such a great feeling knowing that you really are doing good work in the world. And you spoke about that word about passion. Like, how would you describe the passion behind AIBŌ? What is it that you actually care so much about? What's like your vision with it going forwards?
Do you know what? My passion for it has definitely developed as I've actually started to do it. Like, I had an initial passion just because of the vision I had. But then my first step, for example, when I created the company, was not getting everything set up. I was like, right, the first thing, because I'd read like a few things, but the first thing I was like, I need to test the idea to see if it will actually work and someone will use it. So within the first month, I got my first customer just from posting on like a random Facebook group in my town. And yeah, someone replied, and then he was like, it was basically this man's daughter that got in contact, and she said, you know, I live in Jersey. I don't get to go and see my dad as often as I'd like. This would be perfect. Just knowing someone young, he loves young people. He can tell his stories too. They can go out with him. They can, you know, do bits around the house if he needs. And a specific thing that he needed help with was typing on the computer because he has Parkinson's. Anyway, it was just so lovely when I was the one that was the buddy to start with, because I was like, I need to experience what it's going to be like for the young people, so I'll do it. So I was his buddy for 2 weeks and it was great. We went to his his old hometown. He showed me where he grew up. We went for coffee. I showed him like proper coffee because I was like, oh, do you like you know, real good coffee? Like, how are you into like that sort of stuff? He was like, what? Coffee. And I was like, no. Like, you need to experience good coffee. So I took him to like my favorite coffee shop, just like stuff like that, sharing experiences. I saw the value for myself and for him. And I thought, right, this is going to be great. And then, yeah, when he got matched up with his first buddy called Jess, she said she learned so much from him. And it was just like a beautiful like friendship that I saw. And then I was like, great, this could be so amazing. And I didn't also anticipate I knew it would be good for the young people as well, but I didn't anticipate how much they would get out of it as well. So that's fueled my passion along the way, I'd say.
What you just described is so good because there's so much in that where it's like you're talking about taking action and about like using momentum and things like that. And you spoke about, okay, first you've got that £50 down on registering your company. Then you've put a post out on Facebook community. Then you've become a buddy for someone. Then you found someone else to become a buddy. It's like one thing's leading on from the next.
Definitely.
And I feel like a lot of people probably do spend too much time in the thinking stage about 100%. What they're going to do rather than actually doing the thing that they're going to say. That period of time from actually registering your company, at what point was it like, okay, you're now a buddy, you're in business and this thing is real?
Oh, I'd say after I transitioned out, because his name's Ad, he won't mind if I say it, but after I was his buddy and then I got him a buddy, he knew obviously I was trialing it and he knew that it was the start of the business. And like, he's now, I joke, he's like the poster boy of everything. Like, he's on all the banners, he loves it. I think after they were matched up, I was like, wow, this could really work, because this was more than a year ago now and he's still using it and he loves it. So it was at that point I was like, yeah, it was honestly, yeah, like you're saying, step by step. Like, sometimes I was like, what am I doing? Like, I can't just post on Facebook if this is a proper business. Then I created a business WhatsApp. Then I went to like networking things, and like everything comes bit by bit. But I think the most important thing is just, I think is, the minimum viable product, which is what I did when I just reached out on Facebook. Like, you've got to test the real concept sooner rather than imagine if you did the website and then you paid someone to do the legal stuff and then you realize no one actually wants this service. And then you might need to alter your thing. So yeah, I think,
Yeah, I imagine that.
If that made sense.
Yeah, totally. Because I feel like you just got to get stuck in and you have to find out as quick as possible if this is actually going to work.
Yeah.
And if people actually like what you're doing. Because the market's going to be honest with you, right? Like if it doesn't sell, then like chances are you need to change something. Something's not working. One thing I did really want to sort of dig a bit deeper on is that the mindset of you, I find incredibly impressive. And it reminds me of a topic that I was learning about a few months ago. It's called high agency. You heard of it?
No, I haven't.
So high agency is kind of popularized by this guy called George Mack. And he talks about high agency being people that happen to life as opposed to life happening to them. So if life happens to you, then you would be described as having low agency. But if you're happening to life, you're getting after things, you have an idea as to what you want your life to be, and then you go and make it happen, as opposed to just being like, England's shit at the moment. That's why I haven't got a job.
That's just how it is,
Whatever it is. Of course, it is tough times, but there are those people like yourself that go, I'm going to go and do this thing. I'm going to set up my business anyways. I might be young with no experience, but I'm going to do it. What is it about you that you think has made you to have such high agency in your life?
Oh, that's a really good question. It's funny, because I learned about that in psychology. They call it locus of control, I think. But yeah, it's like that mindset of, do you just accept when things are happening to you, or do you change? And obviously it's not a simple answer, but I don't know. I just always have thought, like, I think I like the challenge of something. Like, if you have, like, if someone was like, you can't do that, then I'd be like, well, I'll show you that. I don't know. I think it's a competitive element, because I've always been really competitive in like sports and stuff, for example. But maybe that's a part of it, is like, oh no, but I can do it. But then I do think, I don't know why I'm like that though, but I just think with like random things, like if you want to do it, you can do it. And I believe that 100%, not for myself, but for anyone. Like, if a friend's like, oh, I don't know, says they have a problem or they want to do something, I'm like, well, but you can, like you could just look it up on the internet, and I could chat GPT it. How do I become this, or how do I do that? Like, there's always a way to do it. So I think the belief of that, but I don't know where that comes from. I guess just, I don't know, trying maybe different things, or like I've done loads of like random jobs as well. And I think experiencing like different types of jobs, and when you're in the job, you're like, oh, this isn't what I thought it'd be. It's not as proper as I thought. And this person goes and hides away and does that. Or like I don't know.
Do you remember a moment where you were doing that? Where you were looking at yourself like, how did I end up here? Sort of thing.
Maybe with the extra stuff. Again, though, I don't have an answer. I don't even know how I ended up doing that. But yeah, like just being on a movie set and being like, why am I here and how am I here? I actually don't know how I'm here, but this is great. And it's actually, anyone can do it. Like, when anyone asks me about it, I'm like, well, you just measure yourself, take a picture and sign up to an agency, and they'll contact you about a movie. Like, it's just, I think, well, maybe it's like, once you find, maybe you do something that you think is far-fetched and you're like, oh, I couldn't do that. Only doing one thing where you prove that you can, it then opens up everything else. You're like, oh, well, I could do that, could do this. This is the route to do it. But,
yeah. It sounds like you're describing like exploration, just trying loads of different things.
Kind
of seeing what sticks, what works for you. Earlier you did speak about this idea of like passion. Like you said, you had this passion for it. But obviously on social media now, there's so much stuff saying, find your passion, find your purpose.
Yeah.
But what do you actually think is like the meaning behind that? And do you think that this sort of messaging is actually useful for people trying to figure out what they want to do?
I think it's so hard, isn't it? Because I think people associate work, for example, work and passion as like two different things, or like some people maybe think that they can't be the same thing, and their passions might be their hobbies, but then work's just a necessity thing. But I guess it's like a mix of things, of what experiences you've had, how you've grown up. Like a mix of all those things. But I think you know when you get excited about something, like it's like a feeling like within. It might not necessarily be about the thing itself, but it might be the process of something, or like, yeah, for me, like I get really excited of the thought of like having my own business and like being able to create it and influence it and things like that. But then I also have, it doesn't mean you have one passion. Like I'm really passionate about animals and like nature and I don't know, like sports and film and TV. Like you can have loads. So yeah, I'm not really got like that good of an answer to that question, but yeah, I think it's much harder than it is said. Like someone's like, find your passion. Well, you've got to, yeah, I think try loads of different things, or just like be really self-aware and really like everyone could really deep think like what gets me excited. Like you'll know what that feeling is, and then maybe explore that deeper.
Yeah, and that's almost a better framework to use when you're actually being specific. Like, what makes you excited? It's like, well, you know
Yeah.
straight away. It almost comes to your mind immediately. But then when it's like, find your purpose, it's like now you've turned that question into a command. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, what do you mean by purpose? It's like, it's got this ambiguity about it. What
Like, if you
actually
ask me
is
what my purpose is, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
think
know. I'm
it-
just going with what excites you and what makes you feel good about yourself, or like what gives you energy. I think is a good way to phrase it. Like, what do you get energized about?
And what is it for you with AIBŌ? Like, what is that thing that you get energized about?
I think about creating a wider societal impact, and I really like the idea of connecting people, like in day-to-day life as well. Like, I don't know, I feel like people will probably think I'm like known for like having loads of random friends and like bringing lots of random people together. You know, like some people will hang out with groups of people and then it would
They're all
maybe
the
be
same.
weird if you like brought some random person into that. But like I love the idea of connecting people and, you know, finding people that they might really get on with. And I think with AIBŌ, it opens up such an opportunity to connect all sorts of people, whether it be older people with other older people in their area that they didn't know were there, young people meeting other young people, or obviously the main thing is connecting young with old and realizing the synergies and breaking stereotypes. And yeah, just I'm really excited to see what it can become and how it can change like society, I guess. I didn't realize it could have that impact till now. Like I'm starting to,
Yeah, it's almost like you realize it as you go on.
Yeah.
What it could be.
Yeah.
And I even found with myself when I think, okay, what is it that I love? It's like, well, I love talking to people. And what do you like talking about? I like non-conformity and like doing your own path and things like this. So it's like, well, podcast works really well. But then as I did it, I also realized not only do I realize what a great message it can be and what a great podcast it can be, but also that's the good stuff is only like 20% of it.
Yeah.
Like I was saying to you earlier, there's like so much other stuff you got to do. Like, well, okay, well, you need to build a website and you have to be able to set up all the tech and you know, I need to like edit all these videos or
and
whatever.
Promote yourself and fight. Yeah.
So what's that stuff for you that you found as you build AIBŌ? There's like the stuff you need to do in order to do the stuff that you want to do. That's
a good question as well. Definitely like the legal stuff, the insurance stuff that I just was like, oh, that's a huge thing that needs to be sorted that I have no idea about and need to find. And then the tech side of it. So I was just so lucky. I know I've said it to you before, but like I met this amazing guy just randomly in a cafe for this thing that I was going to that ended up being crap. But then it meant that I met him. And it's like really weird moments like that though, that you're like, how did that just happen? Like that can't be a coincidence, but it was. Yeah, they're mind blowing, those moments. But yeah, I guess
that story.
What
happened there? Yeah.
I was going to a grant funding event and it was in Portsmouth, and I never go to Portsmouth. And knowing me, like liking coffee and good coffee, I looked up this nice coffee shop and I couldn't find it for ages. And I finally found it. And when I was going to the toilet, I just wanted this guy opposite me to look after my laptop just while I went. And then I came back and then he was just really friendly and he was like, how's your day going? And I was like, oh, well, yeah, it's going good actually. Like I'm going to this event. And then we got talking about what we both do. And yeah, and then I had to rush off to go to the event, but I really liked speaking to him. And he was saying how he's a software engineer and a stack engineer. And I was like, God, I need a stack engineer. Like, I was like, what's your LinkedIn? Like, and then since then we've like kept in contact, and now hopefully we'll work together on AIBŌ. But yeah, it was just one of those things that it was just, yeah, so weird how like it was such a weird coincidence, and now how like imperative that relationship was. So
Yeah, such a cool chance
yeah,
encounter.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
I love moments like that. Yeah.
And we actually ended up partying with him at a Mamma
Yeah,
Mia
Mamma
street
Mia.
event,
Yeah, I
which is
know.
also great.
Yeah.
He seems like a cool dude, and I love how on your journey you just seem to meet really great people. Probably partly to do with the fact that AIBŌ is sort of set up. It's about people meeting each other.
Yeah.
But what have you learnt, would you say, from these, particularly the older generations? Have any of them taught you about life, or any thoughts of wisdom from people in their older years?
Oh, that's a good one. I heard a lot. Aj told me a lot about his life. I think it's just learning about how different their life was, and how, although it's so different to how we live now, it's still the same like messages of like wisdom, or like things can be applied and then learnt from that. And I think that's another thing I realized was, although the service is essentially for older people who want help to stay independent and get out and about still, and feel connected, it's as beneficial to them as it is the younger person, having someone to talk to about their life and understand, I don't know, get messages of wisdom or get advice from someone that's not in their family, doesn't know their life. They could, ask them about problems they're having and then get a whole other perspective on it. And really importantly, that makes the older person as well, who they're buddied up with, feel like needed and useful. And that was something my nan said to me, which made me really upset, because it was like, she said something like, the worst thing about getting older, or something really sad about getting older, is not feeling like anyone needs you anymore. Like, no one needs you to do the washing, no one needs you to cook. And not feeling needed is a horrible feeling, because it's like, it almost is like, not what value do you have, but no one needs you. So that's one thing I really wanted to somehow build into AIBŌ. If I can make the older person, although they're paying for a service, make them feel needed. And the way that can happen is by telling the young people, or encouraging them to open up and ask for their advice. Because if you're giving advice to someone, you're feeling useful, and they've got so much wisdom. If they were you, like, you're going to be them. It's not like just some random old person. Like, they've had a life, and my nan's got crazy stories that are hilarious. So yeah,
they're people, aren't they? They're not just
exactly.
like old and rotting.
Exactly.
They've all got stories and everything.
Exactly.
I really find your position that you're in is quite unique, because you're able to see all of the entire relationship in terms of what they have in common, and the disparities between the youngest and the oldest generation. Mm-hmm. What do you think at the moment is that relationship between the two? Because I feel like there's almost this sense of going from respecting your elders in our culture to now this kind of disrespectful wokeness, where younger generations feel like the older
have controversial views and stuff.
They have controversial views and things like this, and that kind of takes pride over place, over respecting your elders. But how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that'd be really interesting to see how that pans out, because there could be loads of things that come up, or they have, so it's a funny one, because just because you associate maybe people to have more traditional views that are older doesn't mean they do, and also doesn't mean they can't change their opinion. Like, they might have a relationship with a younger person and they might have opposing views. Doesn't mean you can't get on as people. Like, just because you have opposing views, you can still have a relationship and a friendship with someone. But then if they spend time together, they both have the opportunity to have their views changed by learning from each other. And I think that's what's so special about what this could be, is there's the opportunity for both mindsets to be changed. But respecting your elders, and I think that's a huge part of cultures that are more intergenerational. And I think that should be something. Someone's lived longer than you, wiser, but then that might come with more traditional views or fixed mindsets, but doesn't mean it can't be changed. But yeah, it will just depend on who the younger people are as people, and if they can try and change that, or maybe accept that they have different views and then not let that change it, or obviously to a certain extent what the views are. But yeah.
I think that's such an important point though, because obviously people will judge you on your opinions and your views. And particularly now at the moment, there's like so much disparity where you'll be judged on where you stand in society, and the position you're in where you've got connecting, they're actually meeting, they're essentially becoming, like, as you say, buddies for each other, and they are completely different in terms of their values and the things that they actually believe in. Have you found, like, trying to match them up together, do you feel like it's a hard job, or is it a case of if the two click, then it's great? But how does that process actually go of connecting these two people, making sure that the relationship is a good one?
Yeah, so at the moment, it's me manually matching people based on, so I ask certain questions around interest, personality, and career aspirations. So for the older person, what did your career look like? What did you do in your life? And then for the younger person, what are your career aspirations right now? And so the main thing obviously is location first. That's the main matching thing. But then, yeah, interests and personality I kind of look at, and then you'd think you'd match. It's a really interesting one, because you'd think you'd match people on similar interests, which is kind of what I would do, and personality. But at the end of the day, like, two people might have completely different interests but get on like a house on fire. Like, you don't know who's going to get on with who. Who are you to decide that? So what I do is, it provides, at the moment, you'll get 5 top matches. So if someone signs up their elderly relative, they'll see 5 top matches, they'll get sent them. And then they decide who they want to meet first, depending on who they think looks better, seeing like a little bio and a picture of them. And then they always meet first in person before any commitments. They can see how they get on. But the young person might also think, like I say to the buddies, like, don't if you don't get on with them, don't feel the need to say, oh yeah, it's great. Like, this is a mutual thing. Like, you need to be enjoying it and getting as much out of it as them, even though you're getting paid to do it. But if it scales and to be an app, it's going to be an algorithm. So it will use AI as well to kind of scan free text. If someone's like, oh, this is how I describe my personality, I like the outdoors, I like doing this, it'll kind of compute that and then match it to the older person and use kind of like a matching algorithm. But they'll always meet in person. That's a really important thing. Like it's not just someone then turning up to their house and hoping that they get on. Like, they'll always have like an initial meetup first to see if they get on.
Yeah, I feel like that's so important.
Yeah.
Particularly at the moment where it's all on tech, isn't it? Like,
I know, yeah.
Loads of relationships and meeting people. Like, I've got people in my life that I consider I know, and I've never met them.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
Just friends on LinkedIn for years,
yeah,
or whatever it is. It's funny how, like, you kind of have to almost impose that. Like, you have to meet up in person, guys, because it's not just going to be a Zoom call or
exactly.
whatever. I think that's definitely an important aspect.
Yeah.
You seem like super clear as to where AIBŌ is going to go and your vision to get it with the app and the AI and everything. But what about in your personal life looking forward? Like, obviously you're solopreneur. That obviously has a lot of drawbacks to it as well, like having to make all the decisions. And I definitely experienced in my own case as well, a lot of loneliness. What's like your vision for yourself as you go forward these next few years, hopefully scaling AIBŌ as you go?
It's funny, I've not really thought of that as much. Like, I've kind of now, my focus is AIBŌ, and like, I don't like to make too much of a plan because I know that things change. So yeah, at the moment, my mindset's kind of like, just focus on AIBŌ, see where it goes, and like, things will start falling in place. Like, for example, I live at home at the moment, but I am hoping to move out soon. And I think that will really progress how I then work on AIBŌ, because it will kind of force me to be a bit uncomfortable and be like, right, like, you've really got to push now. Right. Whereas at home, I've like, I can dawdle along, like, oh, it's all right, But yeah, the long-term plan, I mean, I have no idea. I just want to really want to see its potential and see where it can go, and like, keep pushing until, I mean, the goal is for it to be a nationwide platform. where I've got partners with every single UK university. Everyone knows about it in the UK. So any young person can just get the app, sign up. And then if an elderly person in the area wants companionship or needs a bit of help, they'll get notified and then can connect so many young people with older people. And that's like the dream of it. And then who knows, like if it works in the UK and the app's amazing, like there's no reason why it wouldn't go to other countries and stuff. So yeah, I just love to see where it goes. I'm not thinking too much about it because I'm like, yeah, I'll just see and go with the flow.
Yeah. Sounds like you're like obsessed.
I'm not upset. Well, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really good. I'll definitely help you, because I was asking like about what you see for yourself, and you're just going for what you see for AIBŌ.
I know, yeah.
It's like,
for
wow,
myself,
there's so much energy to it.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like I actually feel like sometimes like asking what you want for yourself is actually kind of not helpful in a way, because you're almost thinking so much about what you want for others, what you want for the business, what you want for these older generations and younger generations.
Yeah.
That perhaps is a better way to think about how you want to live your life.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that massively inspires me about what you're doing, is you're really doing good stuff. Like,
Thank you.
You're not just like, I don't know, just putting out a podcast. Like,
no, this is great.
just having a good laugh.
No.
Like, obviously it's good fun and all that, but you're actually really like enriching these people's lives and doing.
Well, you're
great
inspiring
things in
people.
society. No, you're better.
No, you're better.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot for coming on, Solène.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers. Heck.